What's going on, everyone? TM24 here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. Now, with the season pass, well, the season ending yesterday, and then the season pass coming out for April, we did get a new card, and we got the 2-0 HitMonkey. On reveal, gain +2 power for each other card you played this turn. So definitely a cool card, pretty exciting. I think he's going to fit fairly nicely into a couple different decks, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. So we've got 3 decks that we think HitMonkey can be slotted into and be a really effective card. So we're going to get to those in a moment. I am going to ask y'all to subscribe, but I want you to wait. I want you to wait until the end of the video, and if at that point you feel like I've earned your subscription, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. But for now, let's get right into these decks. And the first one I've got is probably going to be the most straightforward, right? So this is going to be more of a zoo-style deck with HitMonkey just being slotted right in. So you can kind of see we've got a bunch of 1-drops here. We've got 5 of them: Ant-Man, Boss, Sunspot, Iceman, Korg, right? And then we've got some typical inclusions in a zoo-style deck in Angela, Bishop, Kazar. Even Mojo can be considered, pretty standard there. But where we go a little bit different, we're throwing Goose in there. We're throwing Armor in there as well. So the way I see this deck kind of playing out, you are going to want to hold most of your cards, if you can, until that turn 6. So ideally, turn 1, you're getting Sunspot down. That feels great. Turn 2, either Angela or Armor. Armor on top of Sunspot, of course, is going to feel great. If not, if you can get Angela down onto an open lane, again, she's going to feel really, really nice there. Now, turn 3, ideally, Bishop. So you want to get him down. If you can't, maybe you're getting Mojo down. Maybe you're getting Goose down. Both very solid options there as well. And then turn 4, hopefully you've got Kazar and you can just slot him right in. And then turn 5 and 6 is where you are really going to decide which lanes you're going to go after. And turn 6 is where you're going to pop off. Now, I know typically, HitMonkey has a couple cards that he fits really nicely with, including Mysterio. We don't have him in this deck because we want to have a little bit more flexibility. We want to be able to play as many cards as we can on turn 6. So ideally, we're playing 4 cards on turn 6. Ant-Man, Iceman, Korg, maybe Sunspot, along with HitMonkey, right? Maybe Boss, but if you can get Boss down early, that would feel great. He's another option on that turn 1 play if you don't hit Sunspot. But, the idea here is easy. You start playing your normal zoo, and then turn 6, turn 5, you're dropping everything. The reason we don't want to drop too many of the other 1-drops early is in case of, Killmonger coming out. So Sunspot coming down, that's fine. That's a very standard play. And then if you can armor up, that feels great. From there, Angela, Bishop, Goose to help you control a lane, and then Mojo or extra power as well. So I think this is going to be a fairly standard deck with a lot of pieces that can be interchanged fairly easily. Maybe you don't have Boss. Throwing something, another 1-drop in there like the Hood, or maybe it's a Zero or a Titania. Something like that will fit very, very nicely. So this is just going to be a standard zoo that does include the HitMonkey in it. I do think that he will be fairly strong, especially if you can play 4 other cards. All of a sudden, he is an 8-power monkey, and that feels amazing. If Boss hit him, it's even more. So I feel like this is going to be a really, really nice zoo deck that most people should be able to kind of piece together, as none of the pieces are too crazy. I know we have 1 Series 4 card in there and a couple Series 3, but overall, some of these pieces, most of them actually, are interchangeable. Ideally, the core is going to be, Angela, Bishop, Kazar, bunch of 1-drops, and then, of course, HitMonkey. And whatever else you want to kind of fit in there, I feel like you can. You've got super low-cost deck here, so ideally, you can play every single card that you get. But I do think this will be a nice kind of entry point for HitMonkey. But let's get on to the next couple. They are going to be a little bit different and hopefully a little bit more exciting, even though I do think this one will get us some results. But let's go to the next one. All right, and we're on to the next one. As you can kind of tell by this one, this is going to be a bounce deck. This is honestly the first deck that I tried with him. So a couple weeks ago, there was a deck going around that had Darkhawk and, a bunch of the bounce features, relying on Korg and Black Widow to keep that Darkhawk nice and strong, nice and healthy there. So this kind of is that deck, but tossing HitMonkey in there. It seems to work fairly well. I did get some pretty good results, but of course, everyone is playing to counter HitMonkey right now, so I do want to kind of test this one a little bit more, maybe experiment with a couple cards and see where we can go from here. But the idea here is just to use those bounce features that you've got from Falcon and from Beast to be able to play, even more than the 5 cards that we would have played with the Zoo deck. So you can get a few of your 1-drops that are 0 cost. Maybe you've got a couple of demons from the hood, and all of a sudden you're having a massive power dump on turn 6 again. Now, we don't have any other buffs, right? We don't have Khazar. We don't have Blue Marvel. The idea here is that most of our power is going to come from Angela, Bishop, HitMonkey if you can, and then, of course, Darkhawk. So the Korg, Black Widow helping keeping our Darkhawk strong. Angela and Bishop are auto inclusions just because they are great in any deck where you're going to play a bunch of cards. And when you're playing cards over and over, especially being able to use Beast and Falcon, it's going to feel great. Goose is there again to help you kind of protect one of those lanes. If you can Goose a lane and then Bishop the next turn, all of a sudden that lane feels pretty secure, even if you've only got 2 cards there, because your opponent's going to struggle to put a ton of power there as well. Now, of course, there are things like She-Hulk that can get into that lane, but the idea is that you're then forcing them to float mana in order to get more power into that lane. So you can then shift your attention to other lanes and try and take a couple of those. Like I said, this is the first one I tried. I did have some pretty good results. We did have some really solid HitMonkeys. So I think this one, although it may need a little bit of tweaking, it's day 1 of trying HitMonkey out. So we'll see where it winds up. But this is definitely one that I gave a nice little run to start off. And I feel like it's going to be pretty good. And the bounce features are fun, so I figured why not toss him in there and see if we could go crazy. You can always bounce him back into your hand with Beast as well, so all of a sudden your HitMonkey only costs 1, and you can go crazy with it. He could get absolutely insane. So this is definitely one to watch out for, and as of right now, my personal favorite for a HitMonkey deck. All right, here we go. The shenanigans are definitely starting. We've got a Mr. Negative HitMonkey deck. We've got some of the usual suspects in here. We've got Thor, we've got Jane, but really, you're hoping to hit that Mr. Negative and draw a bunch of these cards. Drawing your Angela, drawing your HitMonkey, drawing, Mystique, Iron Man. That would all feel amazing. So the idea here, pretty clear, right? We've got the Hood and Boss as turn 1 options. If you can get Boss down, that's going to feel great. The only target that it really hurts is Jane. So we're not too concerned about that. But, definitely something to consider. Additionally, if you get those demons in your hand, hitting them with Boss feels bad. But most of the time, the benefit that Boss brings far outweighs, any sort of downside that, she's going to have there. So, ideally, Boss down 1. If you can hit some of those 0 power cards, or even hit Mr. Negative himself, that's going to feel great. If you can get Psylocke on 2 to go straight into Mr. Negative on 3, then you are in a great spot. Chances are you're going to have a really, really strong turn 5, turn 6. So let's say you get Mr. Negative on 3. Turn 4, you're looking at something like maybe it's Thor. Maybe you need to play Angela or something like that. But turn 5 is where you're really hoping to have Jane so that you can draw some of those 0 power cards. Now, you've got Magic in here as well to extend the game and hopefully get you some of those power cards that maybe you missed, right? You've got the huge combo of Iron Man, Mystique, doubling up 2 lanes. That's going to feel amazing. And then we do have Mysterio in this one so that you can go with, a Mysterio, couple different cards, and HitMonkey all in 1 turn. And that's going to feel awesome. So this is one I'm really looking forward to trying, to seeing if we can make HitMonkey work in a negative deck. I think he's got potential to. I'm not quite sure how well he's going to fit in quite yet, but I feel like with Bost and Mr. Negative, this deck definitely has some potential to do some crazy things, and I'm excited to see where it goes, but let's move on to the next one here. All right, we've made it to our final deck that we are going to be trying HitMonkey in. Of course, there may be others here, but what we're looking at here is... it's a little bit of a mix of a few different things, right? We've got Boston there. We've got Iron Man. We've got Blue Marvel for buffs. And then we've got one of my favorite cards right now, which is Valkyrie. She's great in just, disrupting your opponent's plays, kind of buffing some of yours. The Hood all of a sudden doesn't become a terrible play on its own because you can turn it to, a 3-drop, and that's a 5-point swing right there. Not including the, hopefully the debuffs you're going to give on your opponent there. So we've got a lot of usual suspects here. Ant-Man, Iceman, Korg. You can still go for some of those huge plays. Angela, Bishop, Mysterio, HitMonkey kind of come from like that zoo package. But where we kind of differ a little bit here is we do have Iron Man and Blue Marvel and Valkyrie. So we've got 3 huge 5-drops, and that's really going to be a big turn for you, depending on what you need to do and where you're going to go with this, right? Do you need to look for a turn 6 and really take care of, a big lane they got, shutting it down? You can definitely do that with Valkyrie. If you need to kind of buff up your whole board and spread yourself a little bit thin, you've got Blue Marvel. Maybe you just need to drop a ton of power in one lane. Iron Man is going to help you doubling that up. So this is definitely one that it kind of feels like a mix of a few different decks, but I could see it being super, super successful. So I'm definitely going to give this one a shot, especially with Shuri running rampant. Hitting that Valkyrie onto whatever they buff up is going to feel really, really nice. So just one other idea for HitMonkey here. I feel like we've got at least a couple that are going to turn out okay. A few maybe need some tweaks and some different card ideas. If any of y'all see anything and have thoughts on what we could add or what we need to take away, please feel free to let me know in the comments. If you found a deck that you like, now would be a good time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, as it really does help out. But until the next time, remember, have some fun.